gonna speak real quick before we get ready to start marching. Okay, if anybody does not have a sign that wants a sign, we still have some extra signs up here. We have some extra signs from over last spring and summer that are back over here too, if anybody wants any of these. I'm not sure how many people have been able to keep up with the news cycle, or how many people came out here for whatever reasons, but we just want to do a rundown of some of the events that took place over the last week, 8 days or so here in Rockford, Illinois, and in the Winnebago County area. On April 10th, Faustin Guetigo, and again, apologies if I'm not pronouncing his name right, Faustin Guetigo was murdered inside of his home by the Winnebago County Sheriff Deputies. If anybody has a chance, it's been a lot going on. I can't remember the deputy's name. Woodlard? Deputy Woodlard. Woodlard, excuse me. Winnebago County Sheriff Deputy Woodlard murdered Faustin Guetigo in his home. On the following day, let these motorcycles go by. On the following day, Jose Gonzalez was shot by Rockford Police Department officer Owen McGinnis. Within 24 hours, I don't think a full 24-hour time period passed before these things took place. To compound that, I know that in Brooklyn Center, Dante Wright was murdered. To compound that, I'm not sure how many people have been paying attention prior to the video being released, but the video of Adam Toledo was released. He was murdered a couple of weeks back, and so we, and during all of these things too, the trial for Derek Chauvin is taking place. Derek Chauvin, who murdered George Floyd, coming up on close to a year now. For anybody who lives in the Rockford area, the Winnebago County area, who frequents anything in this area or passes by here for the past 97 days at least, when you pass through the front, you can see a picture of this young man's face right here, Denzel Duvant. He was assaulted here in Rockford, Illinois. He was assaulted and beat like this by the Rockford Police Department. One of the officers involved in him being assaulted and beat like this was named Dominic McNeese. Officer Dominic McNeese shot Tyrus Jones on October 2nd, 2020. Unfortunately, it has been no video released. It has been no full transparency in this case, so I can't even honestly tell you how many times he shot him or how many times he shot at him or the circumstances surrounding the shooting. The only thing that we do know for certain is that Tyrus Jones was unarmed. We know that Tyrus Jones was running away. We know that Dominic McNeese was in no fear of his life, was in no imminent threat of his life. We know that nobody in the area was in any threat of their life or in any danger. And if for some reason it could have been somebody in any threat of their life or in any danger, shooting at Tyrus Jones while they were in the vicinity would only put them in even more danger. And so here we stand in front of City Hall in Rockford, Illinois, coming up on a year since May 30th when hundreds of people, over 100 people were assaulted and pepper sprayed and tear gassed and punched and kicked and elbowed and tased by not only Rockford Police Department officers, but also by Winnebago County Sheriff Deputies. These things took place and happened, and no officer was charged with any penalty or any crime or had any reprimand. All the stories that we just spoke of the young man Denzel Duvant and of Tyrus Jones being shot, the officers were justified in their actions. There's been no consequences or no reprimands. The officers that are responsible for this young man looking like this are still out on the streets and still pulling people over and still have to encounter people who may be scared and may feel the need to fight or flight. The officers who assaulted people on May 30th, all of those officers are still back to work. One of the officers, Owen McGinnis, was who shot Jose. One of the officers who was documented as making an arrest and assaulted somebody on May 30th. Different organizers came out and spoke about this man. He is the one who shot Jose. And so that's full circle. When we come up on today, Saturday, yesterday was the anniversary of Jovan Fresco, who we have a memorial for down there, being murdered by Metro enforcement agencies. It was also his birthday. He was murdered on his birthday by Metro enforcement agencies. It's been 5 years, and the men who murdered him have still not stood trial. His mother is still going back and forth with court dates, and it's been 5 years. We also honored Michael Sago. It was his birthday yesterday as well. Him and Jovan shared a birthday. Michael Sago was killed 2011. 2011, he was 16 years old when he was killed. The situation was him and some family, some people that he went with, they engaged in a robbery of Marie's Pizza. A lot of people know the situation. The robbery was thwarted. The robbery was stopped. He was not shot in the midst of stopping the robbery. He was shot once the robbery was already over with. Him and multiple men were shot once the robbery had already been over with and their guns had been taken from them. Michael Sago in particular was shot while he was crawling away. There's, again, if anybody wants any of these, also these things can be found online too. If you want one of these, come and get these. And the coroner talks about how the bullet entries were inside of his back. And so we're in a place where we have memorials where most of the people that have these memorials were shot in the back or shot while running away. In America, a lot of times people say, well, numerically more white people are killed by police or face police terrorism, but percentage-wise, more black and brown people deal with it because it's less of us. However, in Rockford, you don't even have to deal with going through that argument, because when you go through these polls, there are only 2 polls at the moment, I believe, that have white people on them. The rest of the 15 polls are all black and brown people. So here, it is not true that numerically it happens more to white people. It happens more to black and brown people here numerically and percentage-wise. We live in a city that last year put out statistics that black people are pulled over 3 times as often as white people are pulled over. That also put out statistics for the surrounding areas, and I believe in one of the cases, one of the cities, I can't remember offhand, it was as bad as 7 to 1.
I think it was Rochelle.
So all of those things have implications on us. I think that also I want to highlight that they're going to have a press conference every 2 weeks, they stated, and speak on updates for Jose Gonzalez being shot and updates for Faustin Guetigo being murdered. I think that for all the people that have found a way to be here today, we have to find some type of a way to make sure that we keep up with those things and we make sure people around us keep up with those things. I think that it's our responsibility to make sure more people know Faustin Guetigo's name next weekend than knew it this weekend. I know for a fact that more people know this weekend than last weekend what happened. And I believe that it's not an insurmountable task for us to carry this over to next weekend. The same thing for Jose Gonzalez. More people need to know Jose Gonzalez's name this weekend than knew it last weekend. We stand right now in a time where more people know Adam Toledo's name today than knew it a week ago. We stand in a time where we watched the campaign for Breonna Taylor be mounted last year, and people didn't let anybody forget about it. And so I think that it becomes our responsibility to do the same thing for this young man, Denzel Duvant, for Tyrus Jones, for Mikey Guzman, who in 2020 was ran over by a South Beloit police officer. He was ruled justified in running Mikey Guzman over, and then he went back to work. If me or you were to run somebody over and kill them, that is not what the circumstances or the case would be. Unfortunately, we stand in a place where every officer has been justified in any use of force that they've ever had in this city. That is not the case for every city. That is an aberration. A lot of times, one of the narratives has been that we're protesting about things that are happening outside of Rockford, or we're speaking about things that are happening outside of Rockford, and that's not true. We have made sure to make this as personal to Rockford as possible, to specific as Rockford as possible, because that's where it is power at. I almost can 100% guarantee that if everybody goes around these polls and looks at the dates on these polls and looks into these names and asks family members and friends and people about these things, that you'll find connections to these people. I found connections to these people. I found out that I was related to Logan Bell, that Logan Bell was a distant cousin I had. I didn't even know Logan Bell's name before a year ago. I think we also have to be in a time and a place where it's nothing wrong with admitting that you didn't know something. It's nothing wrong with it, admitting that you were ignorant to something and that you've been informed. I found power in the fact that every conversation I've had with anybody, I've become more informed from. And so before I wrap this up, I just want to say, we've been out here for 197 days. 197 days we've lived outside of City Hall. Not me personally by myself, not any single person, but collectively we have all done that. It's been people who have brought food. It's been people who have given people rides. It's been people who have brought drinks. It's been people who at different times were more or less involved. But each person who has done anything, whether for a minute, an hour, a share, a drive-by, a dropping of food off, each one of those things has allowed us to get to this point. And unfortunately, we have been reminded why it's important for us to stay out here. Unfortunately, we have been reminded not just once, but twice. And unfortunately, we haven't been reminded just locally, but we've been reminded nationally. There's some more dates coming up here that I think that we should all pay attention to. There's the trial for Derek Chauvin is going to end soon here. I think that though what happens is in no way, whether good or bad, any type of barometer for where we're at as a nation, but I do think that it has implications if this officer is given 2.5 years or 3.5 years, like what happened to the officer who killed Laquan McDonald, or some type of discounted sentence like it's happened to so many officers. I think it also has implications if he's found not guilty. So I think we have to pay attention to that. I think we need to pay attention to what does happen to the officer in Brooklyn Center and what happens to the officer in Chicago. We need to pay attention to the trial for Jovan Fresco that's going to come up here. We need to pay attention to what happens to the officer who shot Jose Gonzalez. What happens to the officers who were involved in Faustin being murdered. And again, on May 21st, they will start having City Market just up the street down here. We will be involved in weekly protests at the City Market up the street. The people who go and visit City Market, just like most of the people who go and visit and frequent all of these restaurants up here, this is a foreign world to them. They don't have to see their children look like Denzel Devine. They don't have to worry about their children ending up like Jose Gonzalez. They don't have to worry about their children, for the most part, ending up on these poles because the life is so removed from what they usually go through. And so again, it becomes our responsibility not to let them be willfully ignorant. It becomes our responsibility not to let them be able to go through their everyday routine without being reminded of what everyday routines look like for people in other communities. So what we're gonna do is, I'm gonna get something to drink because my mouth is dry, but we're gonna line up right here. We're lining up first on the sidewalk. We're gonna get our cars in the front, get our cars in the back, get our bikers in order, and then we're gonna take the street and we're gonna start marching, all right? If you need a water bottle or something to drink, grab it now. Again, if you need a sign or want a sign, we got some extra signs up here. Okay, let me say this too, sorry. We didn't have a chance. All of these things happen very quickly in succession. One of the things we have been doing down here was an ongoing teach-in where every day we was reading a different book based on either police terrorism and mass incarceration or racial injustice. We have been doing that for 10 days when Faustin was murdered. We've, at the moment, put that on hold. And in the hopes of doing that, we've done it to try to organize and mobilize around Faustin being murdered and around what happened to Jose Gonzalez. So in the hopes of doing that, we will be back. We'll be here tomorrow. We're here all the time, but we will have a rally tomorrow. We want people to come back out tomorrow. We do the same time tomorrow that we did today at 4 o'clock. And for transparency, everything that we do is going to be contingent on the numbers. I don't think we're in a place where we need to try to be deceptive or anything. We need numbers to do certain actions. And so our numbers will be contingent on what it is that we do tomorrow. So come out tomorrow, same time, bring somebody with you in. Again, we want to make sure more people in this city know about Faustin and Jose This week coming up that knew about it last week?
Yeah.
Anyone can take these, right?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, go for it. No, I'm running a live stream right now. Go for it.
I thought you were taking a picture.
No. I'm just following your lead as to where to move everything for the time being.
All right, we're gonna start the line up right here. The people right here. 4s or 5s across. Let's try to do 5s across. We get a line of people 5 across. Then we do the next layer, get 5 across. Go ahead, line up. Go ahead, line up. Let's get lined up. Everybody lined up. I think we still got some signs over here. We're gonna get everybody lined up. Again, let's try to get 4 or 5 right here.
Everybody's like this second line.
Stream right now, and I'm just trying my absolute best not to get faces on camera. You know what I mean? Challenge.
Hi, how are you?
Make the best of the crew. I need to avoid the That's exactly what I'm trying to do. Is I'm just trying to. Brendan, you going that way? What's up, bro? That's my boss right there, actually. That's my boss. What? No. He's you want that one? I just got his 4 or 5. Okay. Alright. Yeah, no, you're good. See the spinach?
Yeah.
I did that. My leg is purple.
What the fuck?
She was like,
ugly ass.
All right. Let's get everybody lined up. Anybody who has a sign, if you are willing to, if you have a sign, let's maybe try to get anybody with a sign in the front a little bit, so that way they can see the sign. And as we march, you go ahead and try to hold those signs up high for us. Try to hold those signs up high for us. Okay. All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to go out here, we're going to take the street, we're going to take the lane. This is going to be our truck in the front, so we're going to let our truck in the front get in front of us. We're going to follow that. We got a man that's in the back. The man in the back is there to protect us. If for some reason somebody gets tired or they feel like they can't make it, we got some extra seats in the van over there, all right? And then we got bikers that will be with us in the front and the back. If you need anything, just find somebody with a megaphone or a walk. All right, if anybody needs a medic,
Medic! Medic!
Thank you. Be safe out there.
Alright. I can get my man in the front of us for us. Alright, we're gonna land in the front, alright. Let's move out, stay together, stay close in together, we're gonna get behind him. Stay close in together. Everybody get in tight, If you wanna sidewalk, go ahead and take it with you.
Should we put him in the back? Gonzalez! Guetigo! Gonzalez! Guetigo! 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 No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
8, 9, 10, 11. Give me that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Jones! Guetigo! 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 Duvant! 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 Justicia no paz! Llega la chota! Resista!
What's the solution? A revolution! What's the solution?
No peace! No justice, no peace!
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice, no peace.
Take it to the streets and fuck the police.
No justice, no peace!
Take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice, no peace.
Alright, we're gonna slow it down. Let everybody get caught back up. Alright, make some noise, make some noise.
Guetigo! Guetigo! Say go! Say go!
When I say Eddie, you say Patterson. Eddie! Patterson!
Patterson! Patterson! Patterson! Patterson!
I want y'all to remember them names. We need people to know them names. How they know everybody else's names in the nation. When I say Faustin, you say Guetigo. Faustin!
Guetigo! Guetigo! Guetigo!
I say Jose, you say Gonzalez. Jose!
Gonzalez! Gonzalez! Gonzalez!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12! 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Fuck 12! No peace! No peace! No peace! McNeese! McNeese! No more pigs in! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
I knew it was you, bro. Good to see you. Well, hey, we'll holler. I'll catch up later.
Justicia no pal! Llega la chota racista! Llega la chota racista! No justicia, no paz! Llega la chota racista!
Somebody else back there with a megaphone. Somebody else want to lead the march. Is somebody back there with a megaphone? No more pigs in our community. Fuck the pigs. No more pigs in our community. Fuck the pigs. No more pigs in our community. Fuck the pigs. No more brothers in jail. Fuck the pigs. No more brothers in jail. Fuck the pigs. No more sisters in jail. Fuck the pigs. No more sisters in jail. Fuck the pigs. No more pigs in our community. Fuck the pigs. No more pigs in our community. Fuck the pigs. All right, when I let it go,
Gonzalez! Literally.
Feel free, come take a piece of chalk and do what you gotta do.